Hi, and welcome back to the Drama Free Healthy Living podcast. I'm your host, Jess Cording, and I'm so excited that you're joining me today. I wanted to talk today about the holiday season. I get asked this question a lot, just as a dietitian, health coach, and fitness instructor. Over the years, as we get into that holiday time of year, people start asking me, how do I stay on track? And I think this is a really interesting question and something that gets a lot more angst around it, I think, than there sometimes needs to be. But today I wanted to share just a few of the things that I've learned over my years as a provider just to help you feel like you have a plan going into this time of year. So, just to set the scene a little bit, I really like to believe that the holidays are meant to be enjoyed, not survived. And in past years, I've shared just some of my own dislikes about this time of year. And it's just so interesting to look back on that. I think it was coming from more of like an emotional place of just feeling like left out from a lot of celebrations and dealing with a lot of loss during the holidays. And I've noticed that the older I get, the less I seem to care about a lot of things, which is really great. This is also my first holiday season as a parent, so I'm very curious to see how that shapes my feelings about the holidays over the years. But something I hear people talk a lot about is just the stress. And yeah, that's a whole issue. Travel, parties, late nights, extra temptation around food is a thing that comes up a lot. And it can be really easy to feel like your metabolism, a phrase I hear a lot, is slows down or energy dips during the holidays. And just reality check here, your metabolism isn't broken. But what it might be doing is responding to changes in sleep, stress, and nutritional intake. So today I just wanted to share a few realistic, compassionate strategies to help you stay energized, strong, and balanced this season. So, okay, let's take a step back here and just rethink what metabolism actually means. I think it's a word that we're hearing a lot more about in social media these days, which as a nutrition nerd, I think that's cool. But okay, what does that actually mean, right? It's not just about calories, but it's really about how your body uses energy and how efficient it is at that process. I spend a lot of my time supporting women over 35, and this is a phase of life where things start to feel a little bit different. Changes in muscle mass, hormonal shifts, stress levels, sleep changes, nutrition, like all of these things influence metabolic rate and how efficient our body is at using the fuel that we take in to make energy. And really, you could think of metabolism in a sense of like your body's like energy engine, so to speak. And your job is to keep it well tuned, not over revved. Like you wouldn't drive a car 60 miles per hour all the damn time, right? Sometimes you're going a little faster on the highway. Maybe you're heading on your holiday trip. And then other times you're going like 25. And then when you get home to where you live, you're slowing way the heck down because you need to park this car and give it time to rest. Take it for regular service checkups, all that stuff. We could talk on check engine light, signs that something is up, but if it helps to think of it that way, sometimes my clients have found that useful. So, a few things that can be really helpful on the nutrition side when we want to keep metabolism in a healthy place. And this could be over the holidays or just in general, but I think that this is really helpful to focus on this time of year. Eating enough protein, especially at breakfast. I cannot tell you how many people I work with and have worked with over the years who just don't eat enough during the morning. And that can really set you up for a tricky day ahead because you're not starting out with great energy. And we'll get to this in a moment, but sometimes I've seen people try to save calories for a celebration or they're making up for the night prior. And that just sets you up to overeat later. So, what's going on? So, protein. It really helps with, so big picture, and you've been hearing a lot more about this in the media, is that it helps preserve lean muscle, which really helps promote higher metabolic rate. The more muscle you have, the faster your metabolism, so to speak. So hanging on to muscle is a really good thing. And this becomes extra important as we get older. Protein is really helpful for this because it provides the amino acids our body needs to build, repair, and retain muscle tissue. Also helps stabilize blood sugar, which is so helpful for preventing those like hangry, munchy moments or mid-afternoon crashes. So I tend to recommend like aiming for around 20 to 30 grams of protein per meal, especially early in the day. So if you don't have a ton of time for breakfast, and I'm right there with you, by the way, maybe you do some Greek yogurt with chia seeds and berries or the high fiber, low sugar cereal. Maybe you do eggs, like one egg, you're gonna get like 6 grams of protein. So I would say 3 eggs or mix some whole eggs and some whites with some vegetables, like if you have leftovers, and like half of an avocado. A smoothie is a great option because it's like a meal in a glass. So make sure there's some protein happening with either the Greek yogurt or protein powder of some kind. You can add some fruit, some vegetables in there. Personally, I love adding frozen cauliflower, frozen zucchini. Spinach is great in smoothies. Don't really taste it, but it adds nutrients. And then like maybe some nut butter or half of an avocado, some chia seeds, just for some healthy fats. But I mentioned the saving calories thing. I see this a lot during the holidays. Someone will tell me they've got a celebration later that day, so they're trying to eat really light early in the day to kind of like save room. And 99% of the time, this one backfires because when you skip meals, that does slow your metabolism because your body's getting the message like, oh, well, okay, I guess I need to conserve energy and slow down because I don't know when I'm going to get what I need. So that's inconvenience number one. But then if you're not eating enough during the day, you're way more likely to overeat later because you're freaking hungry. So you don't have to eat giant meals beforehand. But I would say if you have an evening celebration, eat your normal breakfast and lunch. Or if it's like one of those awkward times where you're like, is there going to be like dinner or is it probably just going to be like pasta hors d'oeuvres from like 6 to 9, like appetizers and stuff? So I do often recommend have like a light balanced meal before you go to that event, especially if you're working on just honoring your hunger cues and like not losing track of just little bites here and there, because sometimes that can be a little stressful in and of itself. So not something that's going to spoil your appetite and cause you to not want to eat at all, but make sure there's some protein, some fiber, and some healthy fat. So maybe that's like, I don't know. I've often used the example of like a bowl of soup with like protein in it before you leave. Soup with protein. That sounds great, right? But like maybe you have like some chicken and vegetable soup and drizzle a little olive oil on there. Or maybe you have like a small bowl of oatmeal with little collagen powder or cottage cheese and some nut butter on top. Or apple slices with almond butter, or like a small sandwich where there's like maybe like some chicken and veggies, a little bit of avocado in there. Big picture, what I'm trying to say is that your body thrives on steady nourishment, not deprivation that leads to binging, that leads to guilt, that leads to like a restrict binge cycle. Don't be afraid to eat enough during the day when you have celebrations. Also, just when you show up not hangry, it helps you keep a clear head, helps you communicate better, have a better time, and if you're going to be drinking alcohol, helps you avoid getting drunk and embarrassing yourself. So let's talk about exercise for a moment because exercise is really important for just supporting overall healthy metabolism. And exercising during the holidays and at all, it is not about needing to earn your food. I talk a lot about this with people when we're talking about exercise and food. I've definitely, like, when someone is telling me that they don't eat breakfast or they don't eat like as much on like a non-workout day because they don't feel like they should have it. No, like, let's just say movement in general, it's about keeping your body energized and keeping your mood balanced. It's supporting physical and mental well being. And if you have less time, hey, something is better than nothing. Don't feel like you have to hit the gym for an hour or take a punishing class for a workout to count. This is a time of year where short strength workouts, a couple times a week, and we're talking like 15 to 20 minutes. Like, that's awesome. Honestly, that's great any time of year. Walking after meals, even just for a few minutes, that's been shown to support better digestion and also blood sugar support in terms of promoting better insulin sensitivity after eating. So you don't have to like go for a long hike after your Thanksgiving meal or whatever. But even like a 5 minute walk with your family or something has been shown to have significant health benefits and it's good for your mood. Also, stretching, mobility work. This is stuff that can also help with just reducing stress as well. So, movement in general, good. And to go back to the strength training stuff, what I often will tell people during this time of year, if you have to pick like between strength and cardio, there's no one right answer, but to put on my fitness instructor hat for a moment, muscle really is like a metabolic insurance policy, right? Like it does help keep things revved, especially if you're fueling appropriately. You're getting enough protein, enough nutrients, enough protein, carbs for supporting recovery, you're hydrating. But I would say definitely make sure that the strength training is happening. Sometimes I've seen people try to just do a shit ton of cardio to burn calories. And in the short term, maybe that feels good. But again, especially as we get older, we really do need to be incorporating that strength training. So even a little bit is going to be meaningful. Okay, then hydration. Let's talk about this for a sec because a few things that come up this time of year. It tends to be colder in many parts of the world. I'm here in the northern hemisphere, so this is the colder months. And so a lot of the times we're less inclined to want to be drinking water and just drinking in general. So that's one thing. So just know that you still need to hydrate, even though you may not feel as aware of it because you're not physically hot or sweaty. But also, there's a lot more liquid calories available this time of year in terms of like alcoholic beverages and also non alcoholic beverages too. But just to be mindful that you don't have to completely avoid those things if they're things that you love about this time of year. But making sure that you're balancing, you're alternating an alcoholic beverage with a glass of water, herbal tea, sparkling water, those also count towards hydration. But when we're dehydrated, it's not great for our skin, obviously, but also it can mimic fatigue and hunger. So that can make it harder to stay in touch with hunger cues and can possibly set you up for mindless snacking. And also, just alcohol, travel, really high sodium holiday foods, those can also deplete fluids and make you not even realize you're dehydrated. So definitely stay on top of drinking enough water. Something else that comes up this time of year, just because does tend to be busy with whether that is events or trying to squeeze more into the same amount of time. So whether you're doing like preparing for holidays or going to events, trying to get work done before you take some time off. Sleep. We need to protect our sleep. Sleep is so crucial to healthy metabolism and it doesn't get enough attention. This is probably one of the top things I've seen people struggle with in my work as an RD and health coach. Sleep disruption, not getting enough sleep, is one of the fastest ways to disrupt your metabolism, and it can also drive sugar cravings, which can be unhelpful if you're trying to stay in touch with those inner hunger and fullness cues. So, when you're really tired, there's changes that happen in your hormones that regulate hunger. So, leptin, which is a hormone that makes you feel satisfied, is suppressed. So, you don't notice feelings of fullness as much. And also, on the flip side, being sleep deprived tends to ramp up levels of ghrelin, which makes you aware of how hungry you are. So, when you're more in touch with your hunger, less in touch with satiety, not helpful for regulating appetite and making mindful choices. And hey, I know that this is a time of year when schedules are different and there's invitations you have to decide, am I going to say yes to this? Or am I going to do this thing, that thing? Or maybe your family has a lot of obligations. Whenever possible, aim to make this your norm. Set a what you might call a digital sunset about 30 minutes before you want to get in bed and aim for 7 to 9 hours of sleep. I understand that this is not always doable. I always say I hate when doctors tell people get 7 hours of uninterrupted sleep and then they don't tell you anything about how to do that. I have a lot of episodes about sleep hygiene and how to optimize sleep. I would definitely invite you to check those out. I can link to those in the show notes. But at least give yourself the chance to get 7 to 9 hours by making sure that you get in bed early enough that'll give you some extra time, even if you end up a little bit during the night. And sometimes that can involve setting boundaries with what you say yes to and what you do, just deciding what's worth the sleep deprivation and what's not. So, and as somebody who, as at the time of this recording, is navigating sleep with an infant, like I get it. Not everything is in your control, but the things that you can make choices about, please feel empowered to do so. And don't worry about pissing people off. Like if someone's annoyed you don't come to their party that you didn't want to go to, like they'll get over it. I guess I would also say managing stress. I had a doctor who I remember one year we were just talking about the holidays and she was like, I don't get it. Like people say this is the most wonderful time of the year, and yet it's so stressful for so many people. And yeah, there's so much pressure to do things perfectly. There's often financial stress with gift giving and being asked to give money for parties and all these things. But just to know when we're talking about metabolism, chronic stress. So if we have a lot of stress for a long period of time, whether it's like heart racing all the time, you feel stressed, or whether it's that low boil stress in the background all the time, this can make it harder for blood sugar to regulate. And the reason for this, when we're under this chronic stress, it raises cortisol, which disrupts blood sugar regulation and also tends to promote fat storage around the midsection. So sometimes that can be a part of why people feel they're more likely to gain weight during the holiday season. A few things that I often will recommend that have been shown to be helpful from a research standpoint in terms of managing stress, building in these little pause points through your day. So, a few minutes, whether it's for some deep breathing, short walks, journaling, or even just taking 5 minutes of quiet, setting a timer and just letting yourself be in the quiet. This is not about perfection, right? Like, this is not a time of year we need to be putting any more pressure on ourselves. Not that we should ever put pressure on ourselves to be perfect, but it's really about staying grounded and being kind to yourself. And then the last thing I'm going to say is give yourself permission to enjoy the season. Again, metabolism thrives on consistency, not restriction. One indulgent meal is not going to derail your progress. It's really what you do most of the time that matters. So enjoy your celebration, have the treats that you look forward to that you wouldn't normally enjoy, and know that you can get right back into the groove with your normal healthy habits, like for the rest of your week, your day, like what else you're eating, your other habits. And if you have a day that goes differently than you would have planned, it's okay. Just move on and do what you do most of the time. I do encourage to focus on joy, connection, nourishment, not rules. Compassion is so much more effective than punishment, so just to keep that in mind. For people that are looking at like how to optimize, and again, this is more like on the fitness instructor side, but if you know that you want to be eating a lot of, we'll say like more like sweets and things of that nature, like concentrated sweets that are really high in carbohydrate, and you're feeling like, oh, is that like a lot? This is not meant to be like you're earning what you eat, but one way to be strategic about this is a strength training workout where you need the extra fuel to promote recovery. That might be a great day to combine that strength training class with that event where you're going to be eating those treats that you are looking forward to. And it's not that you have to earn them, but it is a way to help your metabolism just stay adapted because you need the extra carbs anyway. And it's just a nice way to also be moving your body in a way that is supporting your goals. And no, you're not like stressing yourself out, not punishing yourself, but just to be aware that you can be strategic about it in terms of how you time things. And then I guess I would also say just remember your metabolism is adaptable. It's designed to support you when you support it. So this season, focus on just taking small daily actions that help you feel energized, strong, confident, not overwhelmed. You deserve to enjoy the holidays and feel good in your body. We all do. So, if you found this helpful, I would invite you to leave a comment just sharing a habit that helps you feel great this time of year. You can also check out some of my other episodes just for more. And please like, share, subscribe. I love when people tell me that a friend or a colleague sent them this podcast. It just really lights me up. And if you like this kind of content, please join me at jessicacording.substack.com. I send out lots of tips and recipes and just helpful little things each week. So, I hope you'll join us there. So, as always, guys, thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate you being here, and we will talk soon.